like you said, we definitely. I don't know if this is a good thing that we kind of switched this to like if the player wins the championship and then they win Finals MVP, they automatically makes them the best player. Do you feel like that's fair?
That's a good question. I would say right now, yes, because I feel like we don't. That's a good question. I'm kind of freestyling my answer right now.
Yeah, I'll say this before you answer, because I'll say this. Sometimes a championship is evolved around a little luck and health.
Very true.
It's the reality of it. Some dudes that might be the superstar player or top 5 player don't have the luxury of having the team be as healthy, or some things going their way, maybe even calls or something. Sometimes you never know with these referees nowadays. Yeah. But you just have a lot of stuff that has to fall into your play to win a championship, and that doesn't always make a person better than them because they got them that year, or that person only made it to the Western Conference Finals, and the other person made it to the finals and won. It's a lot of things you got to look at.
It's a good question. Is it fair to say, because that's literally the way it's been, every guy who comes in and wins a championship, because we did it with Kawhi. Kawhi goes to 2019. He's the best in the game. I would simply say, I mean, Kevin Durant, he won a title with Golden State, and we were already ready to say he's better than LeBron.
Yeah, so, I wasn't, but some people was. I wasn't.
A lot of people were. That people felt like that torch got passed after KD beat him. I think maybe that first time. If it wasn't the first, it was the second time. I would say right now it's fair because I feel like we're leaving the LeBron era. Right? It's fair right now because we're trying to establish that new face of the NBA. I feel like we've been trying to establish that new face of the NBA maybe since 2018, maybe. And I think really since we knew that Golden State dynasty was a thing. I feel like that's when we started making that shift and trying to figure out who that next face of the game is. And right now there is no face of the NBA. There just isn't. While we can say Giannis is the best, you can't be sure that he's the face of the NBA relative to Steph. You know what I'm saying? Like the face of the NBA is whoever you think it is. Back in the 90s, it was clearly Jordan. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There was a point in the early 2000s after Jordan's era was over with, there was no clear-cut face of the NBA. Let's fast forward. 2013, clear-cut was LeBron. Now there's no clear-cut, so it does feel like every new year there's a new number one because there's no face of the game right now. Simple as that.
If you're the face of the game, does it always make you the best player, though? I'm just asking the question. Because I feel like LeBron in some instances can still be the face of the league, but he's not the best player.
True. But I'm saying if it's established you're the face of the game, then that number one spot to me isn't going to be as isn't going to fluctuate as much. I think reason I think it's fluctuating so much is because we're trying to find that new guy. We're trying to find that new face. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's why I think it fluctuates every year. It feels like we're trying to put the crown on somebody and we're trying to see what fits the most. You know what I'm saying?
I think at this point, a dude to definitively be the best player in the league is going to have to win back-to-back championships.
It's got to be longevity, like you said. What'd you say about LeBron? He had made 8 finals.
That's what made him the best. That's what made the best player in the league. Like with Kobe, like you can even mention with Kobe, he won 2 out of 3 like championships.
Yeah.
And like, was it 08, 09, and 2010?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
See, so he went to 3 straight and won 2 out of them. So then that's when people just have, okay, he's the best player in the league.
Yeah.
Because people were kind of looking for that during, like, especially in the mid 2000s. They really didn't know, okay, is it LeBron? Is it Kobe? It could be D-Wade. D-Wade won a ring in 05, 06. So it's just like, I get what you're saying, though.
Yeah. I feel so then by that argument, I think the fairest thing to say right now would be that Steph is the best player in the game then. Because
you could.
Did had that Golden State dynasty. He did change the game of basketball. You know what I'm saying? But I just feel like while all that's true, I just feel like we don't even all that while it's true, there's something in us that doesn't want to agree definitively that he's the face of the game. I don't know what it is.
It's all preference. It's who you like more. Sometimes it's what it comes down to, honestly, because like you said, like I'm saying, like, Golden State won the championship last year, but it's some things that kind of fell their way to like make them like get that far. But who am I to say? Because Giannis didn't have Chris Middleton in the second round versus Celtics. That could have been a whole different series. Like you never it's just certain things fall your way and you just never know. Sometimes you get lucky, but does that make that person better than the person that won it last year? No, not all the time. So it's really tough to judge.
That face of the league thing is so definitive. Like it's tough to. It's tough to really define because, like I said, that right now, like there's no, like I said, it could be Steph, but it's just not clear cut. Like I think the last dude was LeBron because it was clear cut, and it's going to be tough because LeBron was expected to get there. And when he finally, because remember, LeBron was expected to get there since high school. So when he finally got there, it was like, we expected this. This is our guy. There's nobody right now who we're looking at as a guy who we think is going to be the face, who we expected it to be that way since the draft. Like, you go look at Luka, if you want to say he's a face, we knew he was going to be good, but no one expected this. You know, with Giannis, nobody expected this with Giannis. With Steph, nobody expected this with Steph. So it's tough to say that definitive guy because nobody since day one was groomed to be that guy. I feel like Zion would be the next dude, like would be the model next definitive guy because they groomed him since like high school that he was going to be the guy. Then after that would be Victor Wembanyama because they're grooming him to be that dude. So I think it's tough now because nobody who's in consideration for that spot was groomed for that face of the league spot since they came out of the draft and all that. I know it's really, I'm extending the hell out of it, but trying to find a reason as to why we haven't defined or we don't agree that one guy's the face. Back then we knew it was LeBron. Now we don't really know, you know.
And it's a tricky thing because you brought up Zion, like the hype surrounding him, like through high school and through college. Everybody thought he was going to be a better pro than Ja Morant. And I'm not saying he's not. He could be, for all I know. He just doesn't stay as healthy as Ja does. But it's just a tricky thing. Like, it was more – we can agree with this. It was more expectations with Zion than it was Ja going to the draft and coming out the draft. So, I don't know if he can somehow get the Pelicans to the Western Conference Finals and maybe the finals within the next 2 or 3 years. He's probably going to be in that top three list or whatever. Because Ja is probably already at the bottom of the top 5, most likely. 5 or 6. And Zion isn't. So it's reverse thing too. It's kind of tricky because, like, okay, we expected this one dude to be at the level of this other dude, which is Ja Morant. Like, we expected Zion to be at the level where Ja Morant is right now, and it's kind of flipped. So that's a tricky thing too. So I don't know how you look at that, but I don't know. It's really confusing.
Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough. Yeah, like I said, everything right, and that's why I like the way the game is now because nothing is set in stone, and we're still waiting. Like I said, I know the most logical thing would be Steph Curry as the face of the NBA. It's the most logical thing, but something in us doesn't want to have him be the face of the NBA because he just doesn't. He doesn't have the. I feel like he doesn't have the presence LeBron had.
You know what it is. I get he hit shots from half court, damn near all that, but it's something of this is just. It might be weird to say. It's just something about sports. People gravitates more to dude that's like 6'8", or especially in basketball, like 6'8", can dunk on people, alley-oops, and just it's the reality of it. It's rare that we gravitate towards a player like Steph that's like 6'3", which is considered short to NBA, but it's not. It's 6'3" and only is under the rim type of player that just shoots threes, crosses over people. I guess that's exciting. I get that, and then just does layups rather than a person that just dunk on your head. Bully through the lane, dude would do some crazy acrobatic dunk shit. I don't know. And just a 6'8" dude that's jumping over everybody is way more. Even Ja, to a certain extent. Why you think a lot of people right now probably, and I might agree that Ja is more excited than Steph. It's a possibility.
Yeah.
Because what does Ja do? He dunks on people. A lot of people rather see a person dunk on a person than shoot a half-court three.
Yeah, very true. That's why Zion's that's why they're grooming him. Because there are so many guys more skilled than him, but it's that presence. That's what made LeBron the guy. He had a presence that Steph just didn't have, that a lot of guys just don't have. Luka's great, but there was a presence that LeBron had. You mentioned Steph being an under the rim guy. We've never had an under the rim face of the NBA. There was a small minute with Iverson, but even that was in a transition period because that's all post Jordan.
But Allen Iverson had hops. Like, he still had like above the rim type of plays at times. Even though he was under the rim based off height, he had above the rim type of plays because he could still dunk on you. People don't really know that he could still dunk on you, But it's the tricky thing. It's just like if you're not a certain height, or if you're not probably 6'6" or above, and you're not super athletic, or you can't you can't just show that excitement to the crowd as far as just dunking on people, or whether that's you just jumping and doing some crazy acrobatic layup or something. You're probably not gonna be considered the face of the league like 100% over a person that is those things I just named, or that has those attributes I just named. It's the reality of it. I think that's why we don't really definitively say Steph is the best in the league.
It's all a presence thing. It all comes down to your presence. And I'm not taking anything away from Steph because I think he's the best point guard of all time. I think he is the best player in the game. But the reason he is not the face of the game is because it's a presence thing. And none of those guys have really had that. Only Giannis does. You know what I'm saying? But there's something that he's missing that a guy like a LeBron and a Jordan or whoever that or a Magic or whatever, it's something that he has that they just don't have, or that he doesn't have that they did have. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's tough to give a definitive, this guy is the face of the game right now. You know what I'm saying? So
it really is. Do you think it's only height? Do you think, I know height sounds so stupid because it's like 6'3", but do you honestly think it's height? Like, what if he was 6'8"?
I think it's height. I think it's height, and it's a physical thing. Because I always say, you think about Zion. Think about how they marketed Zion. You have a 6'8" dude who you just can't. Shaq, right? Like, okay, Shaq was the face of the game after the Jordan era. It's a physical aspect to it still. While the game is still at its peak in terms of skill, there's a physical aspect to it all that plays into it. You know what I'm saying? It just is.
Yeah. So, but I'll give Steph this. He's probably the person at that height that's come the closest to being the face of the league.
Facts.
He's probably the closest. Besides maybe Allen Iverson, I guess, if you want to go there. But besides him, he's probably the closest. So I'll give him that because it's still a debate.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. But like I said, right now there's no straight up. This like, I feel like they're still trying to move from the LeBron thing. Quite frankly, I don't even think LeBron, like, they're still trying to move from it. What LeBron's doing outside of basketball still indicates that he's the face of basketball. You know what I'm saying? But it's really weird. But the reason we can't give it to Steph or Luka and those guys, because there's just something, even with Giannis, he's got the size and he's got the presence, but there's just something that LeBron's got that they didn't have. That's why it's tough to crown the new best guy. I mean, or the new face of the game. So
until some of these young dudes can get talk shows or sport talk shows to talk about them every day, they're not the face. I just realized that. Who does everybody on Fox Sports 1 or ESPN talk about every day? LeBron James. If we're talking about basketball, even with Tom Brady in football, they still talk about Tom Brady.
Yeah, even with news, even with the news, right?
Yeah,
but that's even a thing with football. Like, when Tom's out, I don't know if there's a quarterback right now who's got that level. This is the most skilled era for quarterbacks, but it's a presence thing, and I think it just comes with a longevity of greatness. You kind of have to be patient for it, almost.
Yeah,
but there's just nobody right now who's got that presence who are ready to be like, okay, this dude is the next. I don't care how you think of Tom Brady. He's the face of the NFL still. I don't care how you think about it.
He still is. Even if they tried to, they still would mention Patrick Mahomes is coming close, but the fact that Tom Brady is still there, his presence is going to be still there, because we're used to Tom Brady winning for 20 years. So it's naturally we're going to still talk about him, even if he's not as good as he was when he was, I don't know, when he was 30, and he's like 44 or 45 now. He's too old. His ass need to leave. He's like 45 years old ass man. Get a life. But I'm just playing. But no, I'm not. But he was playing. He's been, I was serious. He was playing for so long, like, we're so used to him. And that's the same thing with LeBron. It's kind of hard to shift. Player. Like, I can only imagine what dudes was thinking that was watching Michael Jordan in the 90s going into the 2000s. But when they found that next player like Kobe or Shaq, they was like, okay, we got him. But it took a while though, probably.
Carl, there's still dudes who can't cope with the idea that Michael Jordan is no longer the face of the NBA.
That's a damn shame.
It's still dudes.
That man like almost 60 years old.
Bro. Yeah, man. It's still guys like that. But all in all, to bring it all back together, because the point was about Anthony Davis. Point being is this. It's not crazy to think that AD can surpass Giannis at some point, because, like I said, that's just how everything is fluctuating right now in the NBA as far as these positions and these spots. Who's the best this, who's the best that? Nothing is solidified right now. So, it is what it is. And like I said, only thing holding Anthony Davis